If you are not paying attention to the fundamentals of business, you don't have a business, you actually have a hobby. A hobby is something that gives you these feelings. Your business works for you. The business is not the baby. So I'm going to bend this business, I'm going to break it, I'm going to do all kinds of things with it so I understand how it can work for me effectively, right?
This season was brought to you by the Belize Public Utilities Commission.
Did you know that the purpose of the Public Utilities Commission is to regulate the electricity, water, and telecommunications sectors in Belize to efficiently provide the highest quality services at affordable rates, ensuring the viability and sustainability of each sector. For further information, kindly visit our office at Marina Towers, 2nd floor, number 4 Princess Margaret Drive, Belize City, or our website www.puc.bz. The Public Utilities Commission. We continue to serve you with efficient and diligent services.
Welcome to another edition of the Creative Monday Discussion Show. I'm your host, Budram, and we will be with you for the next hour. I am really excited about today's episode. I have the opportunity to talk to a guest and introduce an amazing female entrepreneur that's not just impacting her space, but she has, through her platforms and what she's doing through her show on Clubhouse, now on YouTube, she's really helping small business simplify and demystify the digital marketing landscape, right? And so we do our best to try to find experts, founders, entrepreneurs who are inspirational, who are motivational, and doing things to transform lives. And so today it's an honor for me to introduce to you our guest for today, Miss Tamara Mon Louis. Let's welcome her to the screen.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. I'm really excited for this conversation. I've been waiting for this actually for a while. We initially met last year, and we had a little casual talk as we were doing your business digital. And I knew from that conversation that I wanted to bring you actually on our show to kind of go a little bit deeper and learn a little bit more and kind of just hear what you're doing to help small business in the digital marketing space. So I didn't want to butcher your intro and you know more what you're doing than me. So
sure.
Just introduce yourself, help us to know who you are, help those who are watching to learn a little bit more about who you are.
Sure, absolutely. I am Tamara Mon Louis. I am the founder of Monivan Digital Marketing Solutions. And what I like to say is that we like to help businesses navigate the digital landscape. We recognize that it's really crazy out there, right? There's so many channels, so many platforms, so many metrics, so many things to think about when you're a small business and with digital marketing. So we want to simplify that. And so I do a few things to help simplify that. As Mervyn mentioned, I'm on Clubhouse. We do a daily show called the Top 7 Digital Marketing Trends at 7, where we just talk to small and medium businesses and entrepreneurs about digital marketing and how to better utilize that. And recently I started a show on YouTube where we worked with 3 businesses to help them implement digital marketing plans. So we gave them different subject matter expert in the digital marketing arena, and they were able to pull together a comprehensive digital marketing plan. And, last night we just released their new numbers. So, that's a whole long story. So that's just a little bit about me, but we can talk more about that in the interview.
Awesome. Well, I want to say congrats on the new launch. I definitely will check it out. And I know what I love about what you're doing, a lot of business are in the marketing space and they're generating revenues. They're going out to kind of grow their business and help what they're doing. But what I love about what you're doing, you're also creating a space for small business to help them develop themselves, help them really understand the marketing space. Because, it can get confusing at times. There's so much information out there, and where do I go? How do I move? How do I navigate? And I love that you're bringing that solution to the table. Talk to us a little bit about the morning show on the Clubhouse, because I've been a part of that. I've listened to a few of them. I love the community that you've built.
Thank you.
Talk to me about how kind of that got birthed, that got off the ground, and then how has it grown since inception?
Oh, yeah, 100%. So that started, COVID kind of threw us into Clubhouse. And so once I recognized there was a new platform, there was this, buzz to get on. You had to get on by invitation only, which was, that was a little bit kind of like, all right, how do we do this? So I finally got an invitation. I got on. And what I recognized is that people were just listening, right? We had their audience, we had their ear, so they were listening. So I reached out to a colleague of mine called Fit with CJ. He's a digital marketer. He's really focused on the fitness industry, but he's doing amazing things. And I was just like, hey, I can get you on Clubhouse. We're going to get you an invitation and get on, and we're going to talk digital marketing. And we started off with 7 trends, right? So that's really the premise of the show. We talk to small businesses about 7 different tips every day. We recognized it wasn't sustainable with just the 2 of us. We were doing the show 7 days a week because, again, we were just trying to capitalize on this new momentum. So we recognized it wasn't sustainable. So we started bringing other subject matter experts to talk about digital marketing as well. And they also came and they brought their 7 points. So we brought people from LinkedIn, from Facebook, from Pinterest, talking analytics, talking email marketing, from YouTube. You name the platform and channel, we brought people in to talk about it. We got people in talking about their stories, and slowly but surely the community started to really build. And what we did was I said, well, hey, we've been doing this now. By the time I was in 60 days, I made the commitment to go for 365 days. So I completed 365 days on Clubhouse talking to small and medium businesses about digital marketing. And what we've seen from that is our community really grow. They took the information and they actually did the work. And then the show came out of that, the evening show with YouTube, that came out of that. And, we've just been moving the needle since. Now that we're moving into our 2nd year on Clubhouse, the show has really streamlined. We now do the show 5 days a week. I'm no longer doing 7 days a week. We did the 365 Impact Tour, but it's 5 days a week. We have different co-hosts, and now we're building out different themes. So we're moving people from the beginning. Where do you start with digital marketing? All the way through, what are you doing for Q1? How do you implement? Because what we recognize with most businesses is that they do and they focus on social media, but implementation always becomes the hard thing, right?
Yeah.
And getting those results. So when I hear people talk about Monivan Digital, my company, I want them to really say Monivan Digital really helps us to drive results, because that's what we're doing with digital marketing, right? It gets back to the bottom line, that dollar in the bank. How do you quantify those activities that you're doing, right? Move beyond those likes and follows, beyond the likes, to really get to that place where there's money in the bank. So that's really what we've been doing on Clubhouse. And now just taking that and building a community, and a strong community as well, too, because we're building a community of digital marketers. Yeah. We're also building a community of potential customers, right? Because as they look to expand their businesses, what happens is we've given them all this information. We've spent time grooming them, talking to them. So when they're looking to take their businesses to the next level, they come to us for digital marketing, right? But they have an understanding of what they need to know, how it needs to work. So really and truly, we're also building in our pipeline for the long term.
There's several buzzwords that you've mentioned, and I want to kind of go back on some of them. You first of all, I want to applaud you on what you've done, and you said it right. Community, the Clubhouse community, and capitalizing on that. So let's start there. Talk a little bit about the power of community and what are some of the essential things any business, any venture should be thinking about when finding their community, building a community around what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I take that back to, growing up in Trinidad, right? I grew up in a community, right? I had a sisterhood. My best friend was right around the corner. My other best friend, my mom's friends, all that community. I saw my grandmother give back to people. So there were so many things I saw about community. So those fundamentals of what I learned growing up in Trinidad are really the fundamentals that we're putting forth here, right? We're really being good to people, but we're saying, hey, here's how we're being good is we're saying, well, here's just understand digital marketing a little bit. And because we've given, the community also gives back, right? Every time we give them something, they give back something. They become brand ambassadors for us.
Yeah.
Community is the heart of everything that we do online, because that's all we're doing. We're translating into these online communities now, right? We're finding people like ourselves, our tribes, and we're finding them online, but we're in different spaces in the world.
Yeah.
So it's really about taking that, building it, and again, just finding those like-minded people, those entrepreneurs, those small and medium businesses that want to take their digital marketing to the next level. And that's been really helpful for us, because people come there and they're like, wait a second, I found my tribe. I found the people that I want to work with. I want to share. And we're answering questions. They're answering questions. They're helping each other. So we're seeing the community really, really work together. And the other thing we've been able to do is really raise the profile of Caribbean voices. That's really important to me. Subject matter experts in the digital arena, super important to me. And also raise the profiles of some new digital marketers, right? So we're creating our industry right there. When speakers come, the speakers that I listen to in marketing right now, my experts are the people that come to the stage to share with our community.
Wow.
That's as far as we need to go. So we're seeing people move. I mean, people have quit their job, started their business, increased revenue 100%. They're doing the work and they're coming to share. This week, it's all about community stories, and the stories we've heard from some of the folks and what they're doing it's really, really amazing to see. So that's great. A little bit about the show.
That's great. Why would you say, why is it important for you to build the Caribbean voices? Because that's a key thing you've mentioned, and I think that's essential, especially in this time. But why would you say it's very important to you? But then on a whole, why is it important for us as Caribbean entrepreneurs, influencers, voices that's coming up in this time?
Because we're second to none, I mean, this is I am a, proud Trinidadian woman, and I love my Caribbean people. And without everything that I've learned, that foundation, that's where it comes from. And, some of the players that I'm working with, Jamila Bannister, Carla, Carly from Carla Communications, some of these players, I mean, they are coming and they are running toe to toe with the North American talent, Jamila Bannister, for instance, her branding game is second to none. So it's important because, number one, that's where I'm from. That's my foundation. And any opportunity to pull a hand back and bring someone forward, I think we should be doing it. And that continues to expand our community, right? So now we're looking to say, hey, we're looking at the Caribbean, we're looking at North America, we're looking at Europe, we're looking everywhere, because we really want to take this digital. There are no boundaries with digital, right? It is the World Wide Web. So it's really important for me. You know what I mean? And again, I'm a daddy's girl, and my daddy was, he would love that. So for me, that's really important to raise those profiles of Caribbean voices.
I think it's right now it's really crucial that we hear these Caribbean voices, because traditionally we've listened to a lot of North American voices, we've listened to a lot of foreign voices, and that had its time, but most of the times they don't necessarily understand the on-the-ground needs that we as a Caribbean people are going through. We're experiencing some of the principles and the values. They're translatable. They can come across, but some of the application in our setting, it doesn't necessarily fit all the time. So I think it's very crucial, and that you are so right in saying that we want to highlight and raise the profile of the Caribbean voices, because we know what's going on the ground. We know what our challenges are, what our pitfalls are. We know what are the things to overcome, and I think it's crucial that we hear from them. Now, here's a question. You mentioned about pipeline. What I love about you, and I wanted to draw this out, guys. If you don't get anything, get this. Ms. Tamara is big on systems, results, finding easy way to get things moving. So even in my initial connection with her, just on a few interactions, we were working on some projects together, and instantly there was these automated things that just flowing, and I'm like, whoa, I gotta learn. So talk to us about the power of automation, the power of our pipeline, and how do we get results from our efforts? Because a lot of people are doing a lot of things in the marketing space, but they're wasting time, or they're doing the right right thing, but in the wrong order. How does automation and pipeline and systems help with that from your experience?
Absolutely. So automation, number one, saves you time, right? So I send you a calendar invite so that you can book at a convenient time for you, right? My calendar is set up. I know the days I'm available. So I send you a calendar invite and you get a reminder. I've done all that's been set up ahead of time. You get a reminder and it just saves me time. Thinking about pipeline, right? Thinking about systems, thinking about your business. Well, where do you want to be long term? You're not running this business in the short run, right? And what does the short run look like for you? But long term, where do you want to be? If we look at big businesses, they're always thinking about 2 to 3 years ahead, maybe even 10 years ahead, right? So how do we do that as small businesses as well, right? So we have business right now. We are not hurting for business, but I want to think about my pipeline. So as I build this community of people, what I'm thinking about is as they grow their businesses, they're eventually going to need marketing. But how do I become the right choice? How do I become that person that they come to, right? Because I've educated them. I'm teaching them how to leverage their digital marketing so they come back to us. Having these systems in place and being able to understand, not taking it back to understanding your marketing activities, right? Because I don't want to mix up the conversation. When you are working on digital marketing, any marketing effort, you have a campaign, for instance, right? You decide, hey, you know what? I want to run this promotion. I have this product. I have this service. You have to start looking at, okay, I'm going to run this. Who's my target audience? Where are they? What is my expectation? What do I expect them to do? And what do they actually do? And then you have to start. What's great about digital is it gives you a lot of different numbers. And each number is an indicator of something. So you're running a campaign. You recognize, hey, I've been running this for a week. Nothing has happened. Or what you expected to happen didn't happen. Well, what do? Most people say, let me just get rid of it. Let me chop it up. I'm done. It's over. Well, we take a step back and we say, okay, cool. Well, what happened? We created a video. Maybe that was the ad that people saw first. Well, what happened when people saw the ad? Did they click on the ad? Oh, okay, I recognize that I didn't get anyone to sign up because no one clicked on the ad. So that tells me that there was something wrong with the ad. The audience wasn't attracted to the ad, right? So what do I need to do there? I need to fix that ad creative. I need to change that video, maybe change the language. Then from there, look at every metric that leads up to what you expect them to do to see where people are dropping off. Many times we just get rid of things when we need to be optimizing them, right? So that's really how you look at it. You have to look at it as, what are these numbers telling me? Move beyond those likes and follows. What are people doing? Are they going to your website? Where are you driving them? And the other thing is you have to create a customer-centric journey. As a business owner, you have to think to yourself, when someone comes into my ecosystem, right? Where are they coming in? Are they coming into my ecosystem? Maybe, they're coming in through Clubhouse, but they've only heard me talk for the last 5 minutes and maybe, they didn't hear everything. So I can't assume that they've heard everything. So we have to be so customer centric as business owners to think about, what did they hear? How much did they hear? What do I need to say again? Where do I need to put a video? What do I need to, and then we need to look at those metrics to understand their behavior. The more we understand those behaviors of our target audience, the better we can truly market to them. Once we get to a place where you fully optimize, marketing becomes very easy because you're looking at making minor tweaks here and there. So it's really about paying attention and making sure that every marketing activity is trackable and leads back to that goal. What are you trying to accomplish? I want to increase revenue by X%. Does this activity help me to increase revenue by X%? I'm creating the video for the promotion that's going to do this. If it's not moving you that direction, then you have to pull back and look at all the activities that you do. Sometimes on my team, what we do is we really spend the time focusing in on revenue driving activities. We will say at the beginning of the week, I'm like, all right, team, revenue driving activities only. That's a call out to us to say, let's hyper focus on revenue driving activities, right? And it changes the gear for the team. Sometimes we're focused on administrative things, right? So we really set the tone. So that's what I believe. It's really about understanding those metrics and understanding, don't give up if you've tried something. Go and look at those numbers. Digital gives you a lot of metrics and analytics to analyze and make changes.
And I love this, and what I really see, and we said it earlier, you truly do simplify and demystify the digital marketing space. Because as you're speaking, that's what's happening. Even for me, it's helping to bring clarity, and I trust for our viewers that they're getting more clear. The clouds is getting removed, and you'll be able to see clearly in terms of what do I need to do in this digital marketing space. Ms. Tamara, we're seeing you now. We're seeing where you're at now, and we also know that each one of us we're supposed to solve a problem, and you've clearly found one of the areas that you're supposed to solve, a solution that you bring. Did you start there? Did you start in this digital marketing space? Like, how did you end up in this space?
Oh my God, this is this is one of those stories that is it's crazy. Growing up in the Caribbean, and I'm sure you can imagine this, right? So we watch TV, you see, and you watch a lot of American TV, right? So you see that, you see a lot of things, and you're like, oh wow, will I ever live a life like that, right?
Yeah.
And so I moved to the US when I was 19 and went to college. I have a degree in economics, and I started off, I went and I got a job out of college, and I was just like, all right, this is great. I'm going to work this job. And as I was working the job, I recognized that, hey, this is maybe not the right thing for me, but I was kind of going through the process. And at some point in time, I recognized I was excelling at the job, and I was like, still not the right thing for me. So I think I made up my mind that I wanted to go back to school, but I didn't say it out loud. Things got a little bit rocky at the job. So one day I was just like, I called my dad, and I'm like, I think I'm going to quit the job and go back to school. And he was just like, all right, cool, we'll pay your rent. I'm like, awesome. So I went back to school, and I did a certificate program in multimedia design. And after I did that, I started working as a graphic designer. And then I got a job at another company called Pearson Education, where I worked there as a marketing specialist. And I started delving into digital marketing a lot more. They allowed me to try some things, create some things. And then I went to NYU and did a digital marketing program. And this is when digital marketing, there's no one is doing it in college, really. It's like one of those intensive 4-week programs. And everyone that's teaching it is actually at an office doing the digital marketing, right? So they're doing Google ads. It just came out. They're testing it out. Okay. I'm not telling my age here, but it was this really interesting, very cool space to be in. And so I learned a little bit about graphic design, web development, and then started to understand layering the digital marketing on top of it. At Pearson, I started to explore and really experiment. And then that led me to applying for a job where I moved to Memphis, Tennessee to work at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, where I was their senior digital strategist for their largest end of the year giving campaign. One of the best jobs I've ever had, because again, it was really, the charity was right there. Yeah. But that also took me to new heights, because here's a job that, they flew me into Memphis. They took me out to a fancy dinner. Wow. 11 people interviewed me. It was unreal. That was the thing that I remember seeing on TV when I was in Trinidad, and almost going through this moment of, oh my goodness, like I'm going to get this job, and they've done all these things to get me. Do I understand this digital marketing? And then a year and a half later, Hilton kind of propositioned me and moved me to Orlando to do digital marketing for them. They hired that year. Hilton hired about 200 digital marketing strategists to work on taking back market share from Expedia, because Expedia had really come in and done a lot of damage from an SEO standpoint. So we really need to focus on organic traffic. And working at Hilton doing that was also this elite group of digital marketers. And then I was propositioned and went to another company. And then after that, I started to pull back and look to say, hey, you know what? I want to do this for myself, because I had worked at the best companies. I got the best jobs. And the next step was, well, what am I going to do for myself? How am I going to create my legacy? And then how am I going to help my community? So I went right back to starting my own brand. And that's where Monivan Digital came from. So it's the MON in Mon Louis, and it's IVAN for Ivan, my dad. and Monivan Digital was born from there. So really and truly, just
I love it.
Yeah, that's the story.
I really love it, and I love too that you were saturated in this atmosphere. So we talk about proximity, getting in the space that where you want to be. You were in Trinidad. You saw something. I was like, hey, I wonder what it's like to be like that. But then you got into that space, whether intentionally or accidentally, but you got into the space,
right?
And it brought you the results that you needed, right? You've mentioned your dad several times, and I do want to go there because my dad also has played a very key role in who I am, where I'm at in life, and the things he's passed on to me. What would you say are the top 2 strongest values, principles that your dad has passed on to you that you are still using and you're passing on even through your business and your venture?
Absolutely. I love this question. Critical thinking. Critical thinking was one of them. My dad was that guy who took everything apart. You know what I mean? He was a machinist by trade. And my parents were a little bit older. So while I was in high school, my dad was retired. So we got to spend a lot of quality time together. And, he would critically think anything. The Bible was a critical thinking moment. We would go through different things and he would just highlight how, again, just being really critical about everything. We would look at leaders like, leaders that the world didn't really pay attention to because they were bad, right? We would look at people like Gaddafi, Hitler, and he would highlight to me, well, they had to be, what were their qualities that drew people to them, right? Really always looking at something that was people would consider to be wrong, ugly, not right, and taking that apart and really seeing almost that balance of being able to see the good in something or to see what leaders really look like and how they led. So critical thinking was one of those things. And also spending time listening. He listened a lot. He observed a lot. As a child, I got in trouble. My dad wrote me letters. Okay. So he would spend a month observing my behavior. And then I would walk into my room and find a letter that was best penmanship as to him being disappointed in my behavior that he's observed and listened. And so being observant and listening is also something that I do really, I try to do that really well and pay attention to it. I talk a lot. So because I talk a lot, I also take those moments to take a step back, listen, make sure that I understand what's happening and really being observant, paying attention, being as self-aware as I can be. So those would be some of the things that I got from my dad for sure.
Those are powerful. I think those are, I'm going to pass that on. I love that letter. I love that. I'm going to do that with my daughter. She's amazing. She's amazing. I have 3 beautiful girls. They're amazing. And my oldest, she has a lot of energy, and I think I'll put that into practice. I'll start write her letters and just share with her what I'm observing, and from a positive position as well. It's powerful.
Yeah. It was definitely, I think, it was my siblings are a lot older than me, and they would call me the mistake, right? So he wrote, it was those letters of discipline, but it was also that, he would also take words back, right? So I remember him saying that. He wrote me a card one time where he talked about everyone calls you a mistake, and he was just like, you know what? I want to keep making mistakes like you for the rest of my life. You're the best mistake I've ever made. And that for me is powerful, right? So in my life, I only hear compliments because of that. Right.
That is awesome.
So it's he's really been that voice in my head, that, you can do it, you can accomplish anything. And always, taking a step back to really be super observant and think critically, right? Sometimes you see things and, you just have to dig a little bit deeper, get past the surface to understand what's happening.
Yeah, you've touched something that I think I want to go a little bit in. A lot of entrepreneurs, because I'm very passionate about helping entrepreneurs, empowering entrepreneurs to find who they are, find their voice, and unlock that true entrepreneur within, right? And a lot of entrepreneurs have a lot of self-doubt, and they second guess themselves. There's not that confidence. They don't. They don't take their product, they don't take their brand and own it and the way that they should. A lot of that comes from some of the voices that they're listening to in their head, maybe voices from the past. You've had a wonderful opportunity through your dad to speak positive voice and to empower you. What would you say to entrepreneurs to help them get out of that self-doubt, to get out of that second guessing and get on the path towards who they're supposed to be?
Sure. The other side of the coin, right? What is the other side of that coin? Because it's all about duality, right? So there's the other side of the coin. What does that look like? And really kind of going to that half full. It's not easy to get to that half, the glass being half full instead of half empty place, but it is a work in progress. So it is something you work at every day, right? See the good. As an entrepreneur, there's so much work that's happening, right? There's so many things that we're doing. Taking those moments to look at, hey, where did I grow between last week and this week? Where was I a year from now? Where was I a year ago, right? Where am I growing to? So taking those moments to take stock, be positive, and find that confidence, right? That confidence is within you. I think it's a matter of just really digging deep. If you are someone that beats yourself up, what does the other side of the coin look like for you, right? Flip the coin. It is time to flip. And then work every day at some type of positive affirmation, right? Work every day to do something that makes you feel stronger, and practice. I spend a lot of time practicing, right? To be this confident, to sound like I know what I'm talking about. Every day doing a show, it's practice. I'm nervous at times, you know what I mean? Like last night for our reunion show, the first 2 minutes, I was so nervous. I hadn't gotten my head into the game, but then, I continued. I just kept moving, and I'm like, you know what? You're going to get into the swing of these things, just swing of this. And eventually it happens, right? But it took a little bit of time. So, but that confidence is important. It's important that you appear confident because your customer wants you to be confident. You cannot use words like, I think, maybe, change language, right? Sometimes in the Caribbean, we talk in negatives, right? And so when we talk in negatives, it's reframing that. How can we reframe that, right? Always thinking to yourself, if you go to the negative, how can you reframe that? And being self-aware has a lot to do with it, right? Don't spiral. Don't allow yourself to spiral, right? That's spiraling. Because sometimes as human beings, we do it. Maybe take a moment to say, okay, I'm going to spiral for the next 2 moments, but then I'm going to find a way to reframe this. Every hurdle is an opportunity, right? There are no challenges, there are opportunities. And as entrepreneurs, because we are special. We have to go through the gauntlet, right? And you must work hard. You must push hard. You're not ordinary, so you have to be extraordinary and push the envelope. And once you get past those hurdles, what happens on the other side is just magic. So it's really about reframing the conversation in your head. That is the most important conversation that you have every day. So make sure it's the right conversation, right?
I really love that. Reframe the conversation you're having in your head. That is powerful. Guys, if you don't get anything, get that, because I think that's very key to moving forward into the life you want to have. That's very key in being the person you were created to have. Ms. Tamara, you've been at this for a while. We said we won't say your age. We won't reveal your age. You've been at this for a while. You've been in this space for a while. I'm sure there's been some key lessons you've learned, some do's, some don'ts, some things that you just automatic when you step into the digital marketing space. Here's the absolute for success. Here's the things to not even waste your time. What are some of those things that you would like to share with us?
I would say, from a digital marketing standpoint, you always want to look at analytics, right? You always want to look at numbers, no matter where you're marketing. If you're using social media, you want to look at the numbers. That's the most important thing, because it tells you something and it gives you some kind of benchmark to start working from. So start looking at your numbers. Don't spend time on social media just to post. Don't create content just to create content, right? Create relevant content that your audience is looking for. Create data-driven content. You really want to spend time looking at those numbers and creating the content that your audience is looking for. Those two things really can change the game for you. The other thing you want to do is, if you have a new product or service, you want to make sure that you are being visible. Visibility is the problem that we run into the most. We're not visible. How do you get in front of your target audience, on the internet? Are you joining webinars? Are you joining someone's Clubhouse? Are you getting in front of new people's audiences by doing interviews like this? Making sure that you all have a plan for visibility, because that's the only way new people are going to find you and hear you, right? So the opportunity to be visible and making a conscious effort about that, paying attention to your analytics, and also creating data-driven content that your customer wants, and not just creating content. Those would be my do's and don'ts.
I love it. I love it. And let's talk a little bit about the business side of things. Like,
Sure.
so you've created this business, you've grown this business, and you've been able to build a team. What are some of the lessons you've learned in building this business and getting it off the ground? And what are some essentials that anyone who wants to get into this business, not necessarily the digital marketing space, but just your business, if you want to grow and have an effective business?
You must understand the fundamentals of business. You must understand economics, the economics of the place that you live in, the economics of the world, right? Because that's what it comes down to. You must pay attention to what these big businesses are doing. You must understand, costs, what you're paying for. You must understand profit. You must work with the right service providers to get you what you need, your accountant. The fundamentals of business apply. If they're not there, then you don't have a business. What you have is a hobby, right? That's a fact.
Let's rewind. Can you repeat that again? Let's say that again.
Sure. If you do not have the fundamentals of business apply. If you are not paying attention to the fundamentals of business, you don't have a business. You actually have a hobby, right? Because it's about those costs. It's about making sure that you can be profitable. It's about really making sure that you can build a team. And then in building a team, making sure that you have the right people and that you give up control, right? That's so important. I think that's been it hasn't been hard. My team is hilarious. So there are moments where I like, even on our team call this morning, I was giving some feedback. We were talking about videos, cutting videos. And I was just like, and I think we should, make sure and send it over to X, Y, and Z, do this, that, the other. And everyone kind of froze. And I was just like, I'm doing that again, right? It doesn't matter. You guys figure out how to get it done. We need this. And that's what it was. And it was just like those moments of giving up control. I don't need to dictate everything. But if I have a solid team that can do the work, the fundamentals of business and a solid team, I can scale my business and take my business to the next level. My goal is not to work hard, but to work smart. And I really want to get to a place where Monivan Digital can function without Tamara Mon Louis, right?
Yeah.
So that's really where we want to do. I want to be able to build my brand, but I want to be able to make sure, in a few years, I can take a step back. And a part of that process now is working to take more time off. So the fundamentals of business do apply for you to be able to do any of those things. And you must be in a space where you're bringing in that revenue so that you can live, your team can live, you can survive, and then thinking about, scaling and what does the business look like without me, right? CJ, my co-host, his business partner always talks about what does your hit by the bus plan look like, right? So it's so important to think about.
Hit by the bus plan, I love that.
Yeah, having a team is important, right? So that's, who's going to do the work, who understands the process, what are the processes that you're putting in place, those systems and other people that can make executive decisions, right?
I think you touched on something and I want to go back to it. Again, having a business versus having a hobby. And a lot of what you said, you were diving into it and explaining it. But let's break that down a little bit more. How can someone identify if what they have is just a hobby? And then how can they transition that hobby into a business if that's what they want to do?
Absolutely. A hobby is something that gives you these feelings. Your business works for you. So I try not to make any feelings decisions about my business. While I love Monivan Digital, it is not my baby. It is something that is to provide me revenue and growth. So I don't look at my business like a baby by any means, right? You know what it is to have a baby. You have to feed the baby, care for the baby. The baby's going to cry, right? The business is not the baby. So I'm going to bend this business. I'm going to break it. I'm going to do all kinds of things with it so I understand how it can work for me effectively, right? So I think that's really kind of what's important is that you have to look to understand if you have a hobby, it's something that you're like, I'm really passionate about this. I really love this. I feel, and you use different words to describe your hobby versus your business. When you're talking about your business, you're saying, hey, the cash flow for this month is this. I've been able to drive 600 people to my website. Those 600 people turn into a 10% conversion rate to increase the revenue in the bank so that I can live, pay my team, do all the things that really matter. So your hobby may drive you some additional revenue that you can have fun with, but your business is really this thing that is supposed to, drive you revenue and take care of you. So you cannot treat it like a baby by any means. So when you're treating it like a baby, it's really your hobby.
That right now, I think that mindset, that principle is shattering a lot of people's perception. Yeah. Right? It's shattering a lot of people because, a lot of us are like, oh, this is my baby. And
listen,
you're shattering a lot of mindset.
And I know, I mean, I will, if someone comes to us as a client and they have the idea and they say the words, my business is my baby, I already know that is not the right client for us, because then you're too emotionally attached to this baby, and I can't help you because you're going to second guess everything that I'm thinking. But if someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to grow this, right? I want to grow this business. I'm looking at this like this. I'm looking at these long-term goals. I can say absolutely, but we may have to break it. We may have to change everything that you're doing. And if you're emotionally attached to it, it becomes harder, So we have one, Crystal Wydell, she comes to our stage. She's our Pinterest pundit, and she's awesome. I did an assessment with her about a year ago, and I remember that. I remember telling her, yeah, your business is not your baby. And she's like, what? And I'm like, you have a son. I'm like, do you do the same thing for your kid that you do for your business?
But some people do. Some people do. And I think that I think you're hitting the nail on the head why their business isn't growing. Yeah. Why it's not getting where it needs to get, because they're treating it like it's a baby.
Yeah, you're toddling it when you're supposed to pull it, stretch it. You're like, what does it do now? Okay, great. What is our plan now? Let's push the envelope. Let's try new things. You are the creator when you're the entrepreneur. This is the space that you get to say, hey, everything that's in my head, everything that I've been thinking about, everything I've been dreaming about, I get to now take that and translate that into something that makes revenue for me. That's strategy. That's systems. That's not, oh my goodness, I really love this. You know what I mean? I'm taking it to daycare for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's up on me. You know what I mean? It doesn't do that. It just doesn't do that. So it's very, very, very different. And
Shining Star Health Center, located in Spanish Lookout, is committed to providing you with the very best holistic solution to any ailment, regardless of who you are, where you come from, or what you're going through. For more information, contact Shining Star Health Center at 672-3536 or 670-3536.
the emotional attachment to these businesses are usually the problem. So you can't take feedback, you can't take criticism. And that's the other thing too, right? It's so important to be open to criticism. It's so important to be open to criticism. As long as I've been in business, the corporate world, I really have just opened myself up more and more to taking in that feedback, right? Because there's always the other side of the coin. While someone thinks it's perfect, the other one, someone thinks it's not. And I need to understand both parts so I can really find my middle ground. So you really need to also be open to that feedback. And again, reframing things. If you thought about this one way, this is the only way you've thought about it all your life, guess what? You have an opportunity to reframe it. There's another way. Somebody else thinks another way. And that comes back to my dad, right? Thinking about these leaders like, Gaddafi, Hitler, paying attention to them because they were the other side of the coin. So understanding some of those things gives you that opportunity to reframe it. So wherever you are thinking about your business, your hobby, really take a moment, take a step back, reframe it, and think about the other side. You may not agree with the other side, but you just want to understand it, right? Yeah. It's the ideal way to have a debate.
I'm asking these questions because there's that person out there who we just shattered their world. We just dropped a bomb on their world. We just wrecked your whole world, your whole business perception. So we want to gather the pieces for them a little bit back, right? So let's go a little bit into this. So what do we do with the passion then? What do we do? Because, we've always heard, find what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And to me, all of these ideas, maybe I'm perceiving it wrong, but it lends to that whole passion and treating it like a baby and not treating this business like a business. So what do we do to transition then from this baby mentality, this nurturing, we got to nurture, but from that mindset of having this thing is my baby to this thing is my business, that it got to work, it got to generate revenues for me. And if it's not working, then maybe I need to shift break it, shift it, or close the doors and find something else to do. How do we make that transition?
Sure. I think the first thing to do is to, again, take a step back, right? Because your passion, I am really passionate about digital marketing. I love digital marketing. I could talk about it all day long.
Yeah.
But me being passionate about digital marketing has nothing to do with my business driving revenue for me, right? So I can still use this passion for digital marketing to create a community on Clubhouse where I get to spend time talking about digital marketing, but then also understanding, well, how does me spending time talking about digital marketing, how does that impact our bottom line? Right. In our first year of Clubhouse, we understood in the first few months, Michael on my team, he's my director of business development. We talked about, okay, these first few months, we can only afford to do this without driving revenue for 4 months. That's brand awareness time. And then after that, we have to start trying to making sure that we're quantifying the hour that I was spending on Clubhouse 7 days a week, 7 hours. So once we started driving revenue from that, then it started making sense. So everything has to make sense, right? You can be passionate about things, but when you do that initiative or you do that thing that you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to spend time here creating, what is it leading to? Setting those boundaries for yourself as well too, right? Because sometimes we want to have that passion and just be free vibe with it. I like passion within structure, right?
Okay.
Be passionate about your business within structure, brainstorm within structure, give yourself that structure. So, hey, I'm going to talk to these small businesses every morning for 7 days a week, but I'm going to do that for 4 months before I know I have to start making revenue. If not, it's not going to move the needle forward for me. Or maybe it's going to do something else that I notice that eventually leads to revenue driving, and then I can adapt. But it's really being strategic to understand that, right? And then using the passion to create your products, using the passion to create a great customer service, right? Using that passion, jumping in to say, what is the best ideal customer service path for my customers so they can feel the things they need to feel? Because the people that need to feel are really your customers, right? They need to feel good about you, about your brand. So it's less about you feeling at this point in time, but you using that passion to maneuver the things that matter for your customers. So it's just, again, reframing that passion, right? We hear do the thing that you love. You can do it, but we tie those love emotions. Love emotions are not just about having a baby or being in love.
Yeah.
Love emotions are there are other versions of it. You know what I mean? Small, large, or whatever the case may be. So take it and just really reframe that passion into the things you do for the business, but all within structure. And the end goal is my business should be driving me revenue. If my business is not driving me revenue, then you need to take a step back. So what are the little bits of structure you can put into that passion?
I love it, man. I hope you're able to pull the pieces together. But this is good because this is what this is about. We want to learn effective strategies and tools to improve our life and grow our business. So it's sometimes we just got to shatter the thing and put it back together the proper way, right? So we just went through that experience. We got shattered, and now we're going to put it back the proper way. We're almost out of time as we're winding down. I guess I want to ask you a few closing questions. One. Sure. From everything that you've gone through with your business and getting the show off the ground, getting Clubhouse off the ground, what has fascinated you the most along the way?
So for me, it is how receptive people have been to me. So that has been, the things people have said, how receptive and how open people have been to me. I think that has been the most fascinating. I understood that I needed to be at the forefront of my business, but I was behind the scenes a lot more, really focused on the education, the great posts, great content, but stepping outside and really feeling, people really saying, hey, you know what, we get it. You're helping to simplify digital marketing. We understand. We're advocating for you. Really getting that community behind me has been the thing that has blown my mind. Man, awesome. And what would you say has surprised you the most? What has surprised me the most? The fact that I did 365 days. I have to applaud you for that. We do this show once per week and we still take a break so that we can regroup. And it's a lot of production work. So to show up
show up every day for 365 days, man, that's amazing. That's amazing.
That surprised me, but it was one of those things, I'm one of those people that I get something in my mind and I can't let it go. Right? And I'm like, okay, cool. How does it happen? Because if I show that I am going the distance, I can go the distance, right? That really speaks volumes to my customer, right? So they see that as a move where we're like, wait a second, she's willing to go the distance, and they believe that. So my community believes that I'm willing to go the distance for them. And, so I was surprised that I made it happen. It wasn't easy, right? So every morning waking up at 7:00, I mean, there were days when I was sick. There were days when I just didn't feel like being there. I had dental surgery. There were days when I was sad. There were days when, my partner was like, well, okay, cool, we're doing this again. I was on vacation with friends and they're like, you do this every morning. It was not easy. And it was one of those things that when I was done, it was like, man, this was such a marathon, but it was a good feeling to understand that I could really commit to something for that.
Yeah. I can imagine you've grown tremendously since that. So what would you say have been the greatest growth and transformative experience and you've seen in your own life from that year of just locking in every day, doing the show, showing up every day? Like what has that growth process look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy is now I am a content creator. I can create content at the drop of a dime. I mean, it would just flow. It's so easy to create content. And a year ago, I struggled to create content. I was thinking about it too much, right? I'm like, well, how should it feel? What does it need to look like? And here I am now every day creating content because I'm getting questions or someone says something and then I can build upon that. So it is being able to create that content really, really quickly. And I always have a comeback now. I always have a response. I always have a comeback.
It is true. I was actually speaking recently in London and virtually, and I realized because of doing the show and doing it consistently, you're right. Like there's always a comeback where in the first, I will like just kind of shut down or be thinking about my answer too much, but it just bubbles up. Like I find that it just bubbles up within. So I do want to applaud it. That is amazing. I'm not there yet. I'm on my journey towards doing this every day. We're going to get there one of these days. But, I really want to thank you for coming on and just really pouring your life, what you've learned, really pouring into our audience and helping them to really grab a hold of digital marketing, what it takes, but then also what it takes to let your business generate revenues. I think that's very powerful that we're not just having this baby that we're trying to keep going, but it needs to generate revenues. It needs to work for us and we need to be able to do that, right? So as we're closing off around here in our office, we normally say treat every day like it's a Monday. And for us, that means, we get up, we're ready to go, we're ready to be motivated. Monday is the day that we're like, let's conquer our week. Let's reach those goals. When you hear treat every day like it's a Monday, what comes to your mind?
Oh, Mondays are treat every day like a Monday. Mondays are the day that I actually spend the most time with my team. And we really kind of dig into that time and understand what the week looks like, where we get to do that preparation. So Mondays are such an important day for us. I remember hating Mondays when I had a corporate job, but now Mondays, we look forward to it. I don't have any meetings and it's really all about the team, what we're doing, how we're refocusing in order to get to those places where we're working on the right activity, revenue driving activities, administrative activities, whatever it is. So Mondays are super important to us now.
Awesome. Well, thank you for spending this hour with us. How can people get in touch with you and learn more about what you're doing?
Absolutely. Definitely. You can check us out at Monivan Digital, and I'll spell that out for you. It's at the @ MONIVAN Digital. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us at www.monivandigital.com. That's our website. You can check us out at the top 7 digital marketing trends on Clubhouse. Just look for me, Tamara Mon Louis, and just join us wherever you can. We're giving out a wealth of information about digital marketing. Everyone can come and learn. Check us out on Clubhouse. Check out our website. It'll take you back to our YouTube channel. But definitely connect with us. We send out amazing emails as well that kind of just keep you up to date on what's happening in the industry. definitely check us out. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being with us. It definitely was a pleasure. I trust that you guys received a lot. I want to encourage you, go back. You can pause this video for those who are watching on YouTube, those who are watching on Caribbean Vest TV, those who are watching on Sunrise TV, as well as here in Belize and TNC. We're going to upload this video as well to our YouTube, my YouTube channel. Go back, watch it. Get your pens, get your pencil, take notes, learn, and let's grow our business. Let's grow our lives and improve our lives. This is Monivan Budram signing off, and I'll see you on the next video. God bless you. Take care.
Did you know that the purpose of the Public Utilities Commission is to regulate the electricity, water, and telecommunications sectors in Belize to efficiently provide the highest quality services at affordable rates, ensuring the viability and sustainability of each sector? For further information, kindly visit our office at Marina Towers, 2nd floor, number 4 Princess Margaret Drive, Belize City, or our website www.puc.bz. The Public Utilities Commission. We continue to serve you with efficient and diligent services.